So let's take a look at how it is you can facilitate the conversation around prioritizing your strategic objectives. Now, in this webinar, I'm going to be using the spreadsheet template that you can download, but of course you can do it just using post-it notes and whiteboards, etc. First, you need to understand there are 4 rules that you need to take the participants through to get this done right. First off, the participants have to take off their functional hat. The priorities are set for the overall organization that's being scorecarded, not just the areas that they own. Secondly, we need to understand the time horizon. We're going to be setting this prioritization for, say, the next 12 months. Obviously, if you set 36 months or 5 years, the weighting would be different because the organization has progressed significantly further down the road. Thirdly, the score doesn't necessarily equate directly into headcount, budgets, or even managerial time. There's a relationship, but it's not precise. So if, for example, a 2% or a low-weighted strategic objective is consuming 50% of your budget, there's probably a misalignment between the amount of resources that objective is consuming and the benefit it gives back to the organization, and you need to solve that inequity. Then finally, you need to understand that the owner of this part of the organization, the person responsible for it, has the final say. It's their job, that's what they're accountable for, and they get exposed to an awful lot more and different information to help them in that prioritization decision. But they need your input. You understand the details of what's going on, and through that, they can make a more informed choice on the weighting. So basically, you're going to be asking yourselves this question. On behalf of the overall organization that you're scorecarding, what level of energy and focus do we need for each strategic objective over the next 12 months? Now, everything can't be high or low because everything scored the same way means nothing's important. So try to keep the highest to about 25%. So if you have obviously 100 objectives, that would be 25 or high. Or more realistically, if you have 10 objectives, that means 2 or 3 are high. Mediums, no more than half of them are mediums. So in this case, 5 out of your 10. And then the rest are lows. What's a high mean? Well, a high means that this is in the top quartile of strategic objectives for this year. Medium is, it's within the 2 and 3 quartiles for this year. And low is, it's strategically important, but it's in the bottom quartile of importance for this year. So using the spreadsheet, what you need to do is on the left axis, on the tab that says strategic priorities, you're going to enter in the financial, customer, internal, and enabler strategic objectives. And across the top, key in the names of the people who are going to be doing the weighting activity. Now, to run the session, what you're going to do is first remind the participants of the 4 guidelines we just went through. Secondly, you can remind them of how high, medium, and low get scored. Then give them some time to consider the question and their score. And then finally, you're going to capture their score on the whiteboard or the spreadsheet for everyone to see. So in this case, if you use a spreadsheet, what you need to do is, in this case, we're going to ask Jim what his scoring is. And in each box next to the objectives, you'll put in a score. You can either key it in directly, high, medium, or low, or you can use a drop down and just make the choice. By the time you're done, you'll have all of Jim's scoring in. So in his case, he suggested that the highs go to ticket price, on-time flights, and reduced turnaround time, medium to more passengers, and the rest are low. We recommend that you debrief the leader person last so that it doesn't skew any of the scores. But by the time you're done, you'll have everyone's score on there, and then you need to have a conversation about what score overall we agree to put in for that strategic objective. And the idea here is to have a conversation where you might want to ask each person to explain their view of the weighting. And typically, they're going to explain which things they thought were high and then allocate the rest of the scores accordingly. Once everyone has put forward their arguments why something's a high or a medium or a low, ask people if they want to change their score. And you might want to go back and change their score in the spreadsheet or the whiteboard based on what other people have to say. And that's an important activity because it allows everyone to see that their voice is being heard and their unique position is understood. By the time you're done, you'll reach some agreement on what the overall importance is, and what you need to do is then just delete the rest of those scores, because you don't want them around, because that thinking is behind us now and we're moving forward with a new weighting. And once you've entered in the weighting into that column, it will automatically get carried into the other pages of the spreadsheet, where it will be used in other modules of this MAG process. So I hope that was useful to you. There's more detail around this prioritization activity. And in fact, in some cases, as opposed to doing high, medium, and low, you might actually want to put a specific weighting on it with a percentage next to each one. The principle is you have 100% weighting. How do I allocate those across those objectives? If you want to learn more about those, just go to the balancedscorecard.net site.